From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
A female corrections officer at the Montana State Prison had a terrifying encounter with two inmates.
The Vice President's big decision. I'm Jared Hill with the major milestone for the Harris campaign as she prepares to name her running mate.
If you're driving around Bozeman, you've probably noticed a few merchandise tents just like the one behind me popping up. And that's because former President Donald Trump is coming to town on Friday. I'm Cassidy Powers, and I speak to some folks about how they're getting excited for the rally.
Good morning, Southwest Montana, 6 o'clock on this Tuesday. I had to think about that one. I'm like, what? I'm losing track of the days. It's Tuesday.
That's when you know you got to get another cup of coffee.
I'm running thin, so I'm trying to make it last another hour.
You've had 2 cups?
One. Only
Oh,
one.
okay. Oh,
But
I'll give you a second one as you're doing the news.
I'm trying to make it last. That's the thing.
All right. Well,
I'm being brave.
Good to pace yourself. Usually Matt and I, we are just guzzling it by the 6 o'clock hour. So that's a good thing for your first couple of days in the morning show for this week. Now, taking a look at some of our temperatures around our area. Well, Edgar, right now we're dealing with some 50s out there at the moment, so it's a comfortable way to start our day. But this is what I'm mainly looking at. As you can see, we pause this at about noon or so. You can see a blanket of clouds start rolling into southwest Montana, swiftly accompanied by some storm systems as well. You can see this one's off towards West Yellowstone. It moves its way up towards Big Sky, moves out of our system. However, that is accompanied by a few scattered storms around the Butte, Deer Lodge area too. So beware of those shots of thunder and lightning storms, especially during this dry time. It's not something we like to see. Temperature-wise, I mean, we're right on track as far as our average highs go, so it'll be at least comfortable out there. But again, here at the Storm Tracker Weather Center, we are definitely monitoring some of those thunderstorms that may just be moving into our area today. We're going to have more of that, plus a look towards your weekend in just a little bit.
All righty, thank you, Jane. Bozeman City Commissioners are gearing up for yet another meeting on the urban camping ordinance. They're expecting a lot of folks to stop by for public comment at their meeting tonight. It's been 1 year since Ordinance 2147 that regulates camping in the right-of-way passed. That ordinance regulates the time, place, and manner in which unhoused people can stay in the right-of-way. Now, the Supreme Court decided that a ban on sleeping outside is legal, so now Bozeman department heads are asking the City Commission for guidance on how the court ruling affects the Bozeman ordinance. Tonight's meeting is expected to be crowded, so the city is advising people to come early or log on Zoom no later than 5 o'clock. 2 inmates at the Montana State Prison are charged with assaulting a female guard. Our John Amy learned about the security within the prison walls by getting a rare opportunity to speak with the warden at the prison in Deer Lodge.
2 inmates at the Montana State Prison are accused of conspiring and carrying out the kidnapping and attempted rape of a female corrections officer in June. Inmates Michael Spell and Bradley Chrisman face felony charges of aggravated kidnapping, and Chrisman is charged with felony attempted aggravated sexual intercourse without consent, while Spell faces the same charge by accountability. On the afternoon of June 8th, Spell and Chrisman are accused of forcing a female corrections officer into a prison cell where Spell allegedly held the door closed as Chrisman allegedly tried to remove her utility belt for the purpose of sexually assaulting her. Charging documents state the female corrections officer and a male officer were checking cell doors in the Delta block of the prison as inmates were going to dinner. Spell is accused of distracting the female officer, grabbing her around the waist and pulling her into a cell. Chrisman is accused of pushing the officer from behind into the cell. Investigators suspect the pair had planned the abduction ahead of time. The male corrections officer rushed to help his partner, but the cell door was shut and blocked by Spell before he got there. The male officer called out for backup and used pepper spray on Spell. Arriving officers were able to get the door open. Spell ran out and was quickly subdued. The guards did not realize the female officer was still in the cell, and she continued to struggle with Chrisman for about a minute before she was able to handcuff him.
As a warden, I take things very personal, and staff well-being is the highest in my mind. I want to make sure my staff are safe.
While the warden would not talk about this latest incident since it's a pending case, Salmonson did say violence in the prison can be common.
Could be daily, could be weekly. It just depends on how things are inside with the inmate population. It's, as I said, a difficult and challenging environment to navigate.
With over 1,600 inmates, the prison is dealing with crowded conditions.
Anytime you put a group of people in a confined area, your tensions are gonna raise. Being a correctional professional is a risk. It is, this is a difficult and challenging environment that changes day to day.
Spell is serving a 100-year sentence for his role in the kidnapping and murder of Sydney school teacher Sherry Arnold in 2012. Chrisman is serving 75 years for assaulting a real estate agent in Great Falls in 2012. In Deer Lodge, John Amy, MTN News.
Well, you probably have noticed the Trump merchandise stands popping up all over town. That's because Friday, Donald Trump is holding a rally right here in Bozeman. Our Cassidy Powers reports that most locals she spoke with are feeling pretty positive about the former president's visit.
Former President Donald Trump is coming to Bozeman on Friday, and as you can see behind me, local merch tents are popping off right now. So let's talk to some folks about how they're getting excited for the rally.
Hello, Montana. I said I was coming back, and I'm back.
I'm very excited, yeah. I hope to get to meet him, hopefully.
Are you girls excited?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just love Trump and I love Bozeman, and I'm really happy that he's here.
It's been 6 years since former President Donald Trump's last appearance in Bozeman. He's recently announced a rally this upcoming Friday, August 9th at the Brick Breeden Fieldhouse at MSU. So, how are locals feeling about Trump's visit?
I think everyone's got, their flags out. I've seen a lot more Trump stickers everywhere, a lot more flags.
You've also probably noticed a few Trump merchandise stands popping up around town. So I decided to stop at one I noticed off Main Street.
Business been pretty good. A lot of people are excited. A lot of people saying, we're going to tailgate. We're happy. We're going to see Trump. I'm happy to see him. Everywhere he goes, I be there. I love to see him.
Bobby Jones is from North Carolina. He tells me for the last 5 years, he and his uncle travel everywhere Trump goes, setting up their merch tents along the way. What's the energy been like with people coming up?
The energy is, I'm going to say it's like a 75 to 25% chance. Some people want me here, some people don't.
Which I noticed as I stood by these roadside pop-up tents while passerbys shouted a mix of positive and negative words.
Oh, I'm Abby.
I'm Sydney.
She's Sydney.
I will stand by that statement every single time. And
I stopped at another stand off of 19th, where I ran into Carol, the president of Gallatin County Republican Women. She tells me about 50 members of the group will be working the rally this Friday.
I think we're going to see lines of people who are supporting President Trump. And I've noticed it's not just Republicans. It's Republicans, it's Libertarians, it's Democrats. It's a lot of different people coming together to support this man.
And if you're not attending the Trump rally, you can watch the event on our MTN station, over the air, and streaming at KBZK and KXLF.com. In Bozeman, Cassidy Powers, MTN News.
In national headlines, Vice President Kamala Harris is expected to officially announce her running mate sometime this morning. It's the vice president's first big move since locking in the Democratic nomination following President Biden's historic decision to drop out of the race. CBS's Jared Hill has the latest from New York.
This morning, Vice President Kamala Harris is walking into one of the biggest days of her campaign as the official Democratic presidential nominee. Monday night, Democratic delegates voted to make her the first woman of color to lead a major party ticket. Now Harris and her yet-to-be-named running mate are about to set off on a tour of 7 battleground states, starting in Pennsylvania. Over the weekend, Harris met with key contenders including Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. People weighed in at the state fair in swing state, Wisconsin.
All the individuals that have been listed are great choices. I wish it could be Pete Buttigieg, but this country is not ready for that just yet.
Some think the choice won't impact the outcome in November.
So I think Democrats are going to vote Democratic and Republicans are going to vote Republican no matter who the candidate is. It appears that way. with the candidates we have.
In an interview with YouTuber Aiden Ross, former President Donald Trump commented on the potential pick with an attack on Harris.
All of the people that she's looking at are considered much better than her. These were people that were thinking about running. They would have run.
The latest CBS News poll finds Harris and Trump essentially tied across battleground states as well as nationally. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
And following the former president's live stream interview, the Harris campaign released a statement saying in part, quote, "While Trump is doing everything he can to drag us backwards, Kamala Harris is fighting for our futures, which is why young voters will send her to the White House this November." And this week is expected to be a consequential week in the world of politics, as Vice President Kamala Harris will name her running mate soon, and with her first rally in Philadelphia, the candidates are leading a nationwide tour of the Democratic ticket, which will take place throughout the week. Our Joe St. George looks at just not where the candidates are going, but why it matters, and he tells us why this historic amount of money is being raised and spent by the candidates.
The Harris campaign blitz is about to begin. All of these cities, from Arizona to Michigan, can expect a rally with the new Democratic ticket in the coming days. In total, Harris is hitting 7 swing states with a combined 93 electoral college votes up for grabs. The first stop, an evening rally in Philadelphia, Tuesday. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump continues to hit the campaign trail too. Campaign press secretary Caroline Leavitt telling Scripps News that the campaign will counter-program Harris's big swing state tour.
Well, President Trump and Senator Vance have been barnstorming the country now for months, and our strategy is going to remain the same. President Trump will continue to hit all of these battleground states.
Trump's schedule this week will include at least one non-swing state. He will campaign in Montana on Friday. And while Trump is expected to win Montana by a wide margin, his visit is a sign of just how important the state's Senate race is. Tracking presidential travel is one way to gauge the state of the race. Following the money is another. The Harris campaign announced they raised $310 million in the month of July. The Trump campaign, $138 million. One interesting place where money is being spent on television by the Harris campaign is in the conservative-leaning state of Nebraska. And here's why. If this is what a hypothetical electoral college map looks like on election night, with the Harris campaign winning the Midwest and the Trump campaign winning in the Sun Belt, that may not be enough for either campaign. You may notice Nebraska isn't colored in, and that's because it could come down to one of the state's bellwether congressional districts. Nebraska awards electoral college votes based on results in individual districts. Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff spoke with Scripps News Omaha after a July campaign event.
We're not taking anything for granted, and we're going to fight for this electoral vote here in NE2.
As for the Trump campaign, more money is being spent too, including the first round of attack ads on the vice president. And with his criminal trials mostly stalled, Trump's allies are spending less on legal bills. An analysis by the Associated Press found a Trump-aligned super PAC spent less than $1 million in legal bills in June. The first time in nearly 2 years the group spent less than 7 figures on the former president's defense. Joe St. George, Scripps News, Washington.
All right, time for us to take a quick break, but I'm looking at your forecast.
Yeah, take a peek
And I
at
will
it.
say, today's going to be like the last hot day for a while.
Well, I worked hard on it. I'm doing this for you, Edgar, just for you. Don't say I never did anything for you.
Yeah, sure.
Taking a look at some of the temperatures. This is more focusing over in the Butte, Anaconda, Wise River area. I mean, I think this is fairly comfortable outside. 80s, maybe some 70s over in Phillipsburg. However, it does come with a caveat. You can't get everything for free, so we do have some clouds rolling in, a chance of rain, but also some thunder and lightning coming our way as well. Definitely not something we like to see in August, especially with these dry conditions out there. Similar idea for the Bozeman, Gallatin, Madison Valley area. Some scattered storms, more so in the afternoon. By 8 o'clock tonight, a lot of that should be clearing up, so there's the positive there. So we're definitely going to be keeping our eyes out for some of those storms. But this is not the last day that we will see storms. Coming up in your full forecast, we're going to discuss your weekend, Saturday, Sunday, some isolated thunderstorms also in the area for Bozeman. Over in the mining city, some 70s, another shot of some thunder and lightning on Saturday. But hey, I mean, at least it's comfortable outside. So there's a sneak peek at your forecast. We're going to have the entire forecast for you coming up in just a little bit.
Alrighty, thank you, Jane. And getting to the Olympics is a great feat, but sometimes it can come with some financial struggles. We'll look into how athletes can get there coming up.